What's going on, and welcome to the DC Appliance Repair YouTube channel. In this video, we'll be talking about this Samsung French door refrigerator, the parts on the evaporator, how to remove the shelves, and what's going on in this particular model. There's different variances in how to get in them. I will be talking about how to remove the door on this unit and what to look for when you're on different refrigerators, because they do vary. We will be discussing a little bit about what's going on in the bottom of this refrigerator. That will be in another video, but no further ado, let's get started. So I start by removing the top shelf. Always be careful to, never really lift it from the glass, because sometimes the glass will fall out. Removing the next shelf here, and we're going to pull this top shelf off. And then that's going to allow us to remove the bottom drawers here. And you want to, set these in a neat area. Be careful with them. They're very delicate and very expensive. Now, sometimes these refrigerators can be really, really frozen up. And when you get to this next part here, you want to be able to, have your towel handy and make sure that you keep the water contained in one area and from getting all over the floor. So now I'm going to remove the screws. I'm going to show you where the screws are located at on this back panel. You want to remove this little piece here with a flat blade so you can remove the screw exposing it. I'll show you in the next clip.
Alright, so I'm going to take my flat blade here and we're going to get behind this little plastic piece and pop it out. That's going to expose the Phillips head screw here. Once we get that popped out, we're going to remove it. Now, when you're removing this back panel to expose this top evaporator, you want to be real careful because, and like I mentioned before, they'll have a defrost issue and they'll freeze up real bad. So you want to be extra careful when you're removing that plastic piece because they will break and the styrofoam will bust up with you. So make sure you get your steamer in there and defrost that thing real well. I'm pulling out the screws here. You'll see me. I'll reach my hands around the panel and just kind of pull a little bit. If it feels, like it's catching, I'll go and I'll steam behind it to prevent from, pulling a seal system line, etc. So we're going to get it popped off here, and the next clip I'm going to talk about the heater, the bimetal, and etc. So let's go behind the panel here. First things first, I like to take a picture of the harnesses before I unplug them. It's very important, which they will only fit in certain areas anyways, but I like to take pictures. As you can see here, this thing is frosted up. Alright, so let's talk about this section right here. Behind this ice ball here, you're going to have your temp sensor, your bimetal, and I like to leave this frosted up so that we can properly check it because they open and close and supposed to read certain resistance at certain temperatures.
I wanted to point out that there was a defrost issue here, and that's what you're looking at here, especially when you see a buildup of ice like this here. Actually, we end up replacing the control board in this unit, but just wanted to point this out.
The next part is I'm going to show you where the fan motor is located, and also there's a temp sensor here located in the panel itself.
So here you have your fan and your fan harness, and then you'll have your temp sensor, which is the yellow wire here. And to actually get the fan and the temp sensor out, you have 4 screws to remove. You'll have this screw here, which is a Phillips head screw. You also have this one up here on the right side. Then you'll have your 2 screws located here on your left and your right side. Hey, real quick, if you've made it this far and you're enjoying the content in this video and you enjoy the content on my channel, do me a big favor by giving this video a big thumbs up. Appreciate all the comments. Let's get back into the video. So now let's talk about the left side of the refrigerator where these harnesses are located, what they are, and how we properly test what's going on in the refrigerator. So what we have here is 3 harnesses, and this brown wire here is one side of your defrost heater, and here is the other side. And to properly diagnose this heater, you want to pull this harness out, remove the harness here, and get the multimeter and check it for continuity. Your next harness is going to be your other temp sensor, which is your yellow wire. Here is a temperature resistance chart where you can check the resistance at certain temperatures. You can also find this chart on Google. And I'll show you in the next clip normally where that one sets. Now your other temp sensor will be setting along the top of the evaporator here in this location, somewhere along there. Let's go over now testing out the defrost bimetal. Here you'll see me have my leads. I'm checking continuity on the bimetal. It had continuity, which it is good. Now when it comes to defrosting the refrigerator, I always like to defrost, get the bottom open real nice so that water can drip down into the drain pan. I also like to set a towel there, try to set it down at the bottom so that towel can catch as much water as possible. If the drain pan does get real full, I like to suck the water out with the shop vac so we don't have no leaks. But I start with the bottom and work my way up to the top, defrosting the refrigerator. And once we get it defrosted, you'll see here in the next clip, you'll be able to see the temp sensor here that I was telling you that it be located at. And here you can see the evaporator exposing the heater. And you want to make sure you get that evaporator fully defrosted. So now the next little clip here, I'm going to show you how to get into the bottom of the refrigerator. There's a couple ways you can always look for when it comes to pulling a door off. Some refrigerators will have a clip here that you can push in and actually slide the whole rail out. You want to be careful. They're real fragile. You can break them. Here's the one on the other side. Now sometimes I like to remove the 2 screws that you see here on this model. Now sometimes you can remove the 4 screws here and pull the door off. Different models are, have different ways to remove the door. Just always look and see what's easiest. Now here we're going to have to remove the 2 Phillips head screws that's holding this back panel in. And then we also got to pull down the ice maker, which is held by the 2 Phillips head screws here. So I'll have some more footage on the bottom part of this refrigerator. It will be in the second part of this video series. Hey, so this is all the content that I'm going to include in this first part of this video series. The bottom part is not much difference when it comes to what's behind that panel. There's another evaporator down there, and it has the same components that I showed you that's on the top part of this French door refrigerator. Now take note, when I showed you the clip about actually pulling that door off, that's how this one was designed. Also, there's KitchenAid ones that's designed that way that you can slide that door off with the rails still attached to it. But, again, always when you're on a service call, make sure you get the model number when that customer calls you so you can do your research before you go out there and figure out how to properly get into this refrigerator. But I just wanted to do this clip to show you guys particularly where these components are at and what you're looking at when you're in this refrigerator. I'm going to have more series like this discussing about the refrigerator. I just kind of wanted to show you guys the sort of the basics of this Samsung refrigerator. This is David with DC Appliance Repair. I'll see you guys in the next video.